Hello, everyone, and welcome to Style Esports Season 6. I am your host, Shinkari, and I am joined today by Thousand Eyes. And today we have Flashing Gauge versus Sand Shadows. We're going into Game 1 of what will be a best of 3. Thousand Eyes, how are you doing today?
I am doing all right. Glad that it is a Friday. Looking forward to these games here. Unfortunately, some of the teams changed up their rosters a little bit from what we researched, so some of this is going to be a little bit off the cuff.
Yeah. I mean, one band that we did probably see coming immediately right
Yeah.
off the bat, number 1, Dr. Mundo being removed from Fortissimo, please. Actually, he's not even here. So, wonderful.
That is
awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, a little awkward. Seems like a predetermined draft strat that they wanted to go through. But we are seeing the Shen being taken off, which is not surprising. Gambit plays a lot of those tank tops that are pretty team-oriented. Ornn, Shen, Malphite, and Pandalover wants to be able to play aggro in lane. That is kind of the idea for Pandalover to be able to play aggro in lane. That's why you're seeing the Camille and the Aatrox. Those are the types of champions Pandalover likes to use. So going into this, we're going to see whatever that last ban is going to be, and then start seeing what are these teams prioritizing.
Right, and I think maybe some priority will be put onto the jungle and the mid, just because I'm not quite sure that Fallen, their AD carry, really has such an important champion pool that they're going to put so much focus onto the AD carry. Immediately, Udyr is picked up for Flashing Gauge.
Yeah, one champion that has been consistently strong over the past couple patches has been Udyr, and not surprised to see it being prioritized. Super straightforward champ. Not a lot in terms of like mechanics to learn. You just kind of run around and be a big beefy slapper.
Yeah.
But in return, you got the Seraphine going through. Both these teams have Seraphine as carry and support possible here. That is in the match histories for both teams' bot lanes.
Yeah.
So not surprised to see these champions being taken. They're very, very strong. And the Skarner here being hovered, I wouldn't be surprised to see that either, because it is a really strong... Nope, it is the Aphelios. I am a liar.
Oh. I mean, as the self-appointed flavor judge of Style Esports, I would say to have Seraphine and Skarner on the same team would be a flavor fail. So I'm glad that they went with Aphelios here.
Yeah. Imagine being Skarner and being like, I have to work with this person.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Senna Tom Kench being picked up here immediately. Oh man. What do you have to say about this bot lane here? We have seen this a bit in the LCS.
This sucks. it is not fun. Senna, obviously it's going to be the Kraken Gwynsu Senna that we've seen. For those who aren't aware, Senna, she picks up souls, gains crit chance, which makes Gwynsu stronger, and that goes on infinitely, making late game Senna's damage absurd as all get out.
Right.
With the Tahm Kench, you now have not just a super safe marksman whose only weakness is not having a movement ability or any kind of self-peel. You are giving him the best peel support in the game, and you are now just incredibly hard to lock down as an AD carry.
And it's also important to note that this is probably going to be a starving lane in which Senna is going to be building the support item and Tahm Kench is going to be farming. So this is also a game where that Tahm Kench is going to get pretty big. He's not going to be living on welfare like normal supports will be doing. So that's going to be a lot of tankiness that Tahm Kench is going to be building up over the game. Azir, Darius, and Ornn now being banned out.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was going to be the farming. I wanted to wait until we got into the game with the items there, because sometimes you see it and it's just teams just don't go into the fasting Senna strat. They just go with the normal, even though it's kind of what you usually do.
Yeah.
Those champions. We do see the
Mhm.
Skarner is picked up by Sand Shadows here. So I so there's some weird interactions with Skarner and Tom Kench.
Mhm.
Uh
Tell me
if
about it.
if uh Skarner grabs Tom Kench as Tom Kench is putting someone in his mouth, he gets a 2-for-1. Uh
Ooh.
yeah. It is.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so while you might think, yes, a good counter, if you're not careful with it, you can screw your own teammate over with it,
Mhm.
as is the way of Tom Kench and why I hate
Yes.
the champion.
Yes.
Um, Syndra being taken here, so this is gonna be confirmed. That support Seraphine. I currently like this composition. It is
Mhm.
Sand Shadows are basically building a pick comp with some kind of like team fight in the bot lane there. This is basically going to allow them to scale into that late game or take objective fights or like hit those disengages that they might need to hit while
Mhm.
still being able to blow people up.
Right. And Orianna being picked for Flash Engage. Usually you don't want to pick Orianna into Syndra because Syndra is pretty much a lane bully when up against Orianna, but like I feel like Orianna is just like a pretty safe pick regardless of what team she's on. Oh, with Malphite, she's gonna be a lot better.
Yeah. So yeah, Flash Engage going for this team fight comp here. Want to get into this mid game with the objectives up and push, force everybody to group up, come to these objectives, or we are going to just take them away from you. Sand Shadows need to pick something here that can really abuse this Malphite in the early game. Obviously, Panda Lover is known for these types of champions, so we're gonna see what is gonna come out. The Camille has been taken off the board. The Aatrox is off the board. The Irelia is what is going to come through here.
Mhm.
That one, I'm not certain about. To me, that
Yeah.
seems like you're gonna hit the late game, and Irelia is going to not be able to do anything against this Malphite.
Yeah, and I feel like that's pretty much how it is in lane 2, isn't it? Like Malphite just stacks armor and then there's not a whole lot that Irelia can do in these 1v1 trades.
Yeah, it's in that like first couple of levels that Irelia will be able to do much of anything. But
Mhm.
even then, like most Malphites are going to be going for the the refillable pot. They're going to be going
Mhm.
for the time warp tonic. They have the comet for a little bit of poke damage in return. There's
Mhm.
so much sustain that Malphite can opt into through runes that the early game damage from Aurelia is not going to be potent enough to break through. Now, I think there is a small chance that if Aurelia is doing well enough in lane, come that first item break point, Aurelia is one of the few champions that does not rush a mythic off the bat. She generally goes for the Blade of the Ruined King first. It is possible that on that first item break point, Irelia could make something happen, but I I'm curious if this is just a Panda Lover is feeling this pick and feels like, oh, I can destroy a Malphite, or if this is kind of just, I don't know what to pick, just grab this.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like if it were me, I feel like I would have gone for the Mordekaiser had it not already been banned. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? If I were trying
yeah,
to play an
absolutely.
aggressive top laner into a Malphite, Mordekaiser is obviously the way to go, right? But Mordekaiser was banned phase 1 by the Sand Shadows, no less. Obviously, not
Mhm.
wanting to give up a very powerful pick regardless. Um, but still, we'll have to see how it plays out once again. I think that Irelia is still a fairly useful champion in the mid game, as you said. I think both of these teams look like they want to 5v5 team.
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, the Sand Shadows, they kind of want to 5v5, but they want to do it very much on their own terms.
Right,
Whereas Flash Engage, they can kind of just go at any point. They've
right.
got the tools to always be ready for a team fight. Sand Shadows, they need to make something happen first. You need to hit either like a Syndra stun. You need to grab somebody with the Skarner.
Hmm.
You need to be able to hit a big Seraphine ultimate, that's kind of why I pointed out the bot lane is kind of an insurance policy. You have the
Right.
Syndra and the Aurelia and the Skarner who are really good at just blowing up a specific target. Aphelios and Seraphine are going to be we are going to stay alive. We are going to kite back, use these big, use the big AoE ultimates to keep themselves alive and be some kind of a team fight.
Right.
If it does come to that, you don't want to spec fully into the pick composition and then be completely screwed on any and all objectives.
Right. Okay. Okay, I guess I see what you're going for here. Now that we have both teams locked in, we're taking a look at both these team compositions here. Where are you giving advantage to in terms of team composition?
I think Flash Engage just is ease of execution, really straightforward, easy to use, easy to understand. It is Gambit flies in and all the ultimates come through, all the damage, you just run people down.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it all it takes is Gambit just saying go.
Yeah.
On the other side, Sand Shadows are much more, we have to play this correctly. We have to set up vision well. We have to know where they want to go beforehand so that we can be already there and set up traps for them to walk into alone. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be predetermined and put together for Sand Shadows, and I'm a little worried that if they're not able to kind of just like show that possibility, like show that they can do that, it feels like they're picking a composition that is, too big for what they're capable of at the moment.
Right. I also have to at least cast a little bit of doubt on Flash Engage here because I think they're relatively low damage. Like if Senna doesn't get off the ground, if Udyr doesn't get off the ground, then you're kind of just putting all your eggs into the Orianna basket to see if she can do enough damage with her combos in order to land some kills onto Sand Shadows, where in comparison, Sand Shadows has a lot of damage on their team. Skarner underneath his little Dominion tower, Syndra, Irelia, Aphelios. There's a lot of damage on the Sand Shadows. And if the Flash Engaged can't get off the ground, then I don't know how much they'll be able to survive these team fights, even though they're the ones aggressing into these 5v5 teams.
Yes, their damage is in two places, essentially. It is in the Orianna and the Senna. Early game, Udyr does a lot of damage.
Okay.
It is important to note that we are on the jungle changes this patch, so you're getting a little bit less gold and experience from some of these camps. It's going to be a little bit slower for junglers if they are looking to power farm. So expect to see a little bit more aggro early game than you would have in previous patches. But do not sleep on Senna and Orianna late game, because Senna's late game is just nuts. She constantly is getting more and more damage because every 20 souls, she's gaining more crit chance, which goes directly into the Guinsoo's, and that can go over 100. No other champion, I believe, is capable of just obliterating this damage from the Guinsoo's like that.
Right. But we'll have to see that once we get into the Rift. But don't go anywhere. We're gonna take a quick break, and right after we come back, we'll be on the Summoner's Rift with Flash Engage versus Sand Shadows. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to Style Esports Season 6. We have Flash and Gage on the blue side and Sand Shadows on the red, and we see both teams setting up. Lines of scrimmage have been set, and it looks like early warding is already starting.
Yeah, and like you had mentioned, we are seeing the fasting Senna. Loch
Mhm.
Ness is running the heal, running the support item, and Tom Kench will be farming with that Doran's shield. So gonna be a big beefy Tom Kench, much more than you'd expect in most other situations. We kind of were talking a little bit before we came back in. There's a lot of phase rush in this game.
Yeah,
Uh,
a whole lot.
yeah, you got it on the Oriana, you got it on the Syndra, and half of that is because you got it on the Udyr and the Skarner. It is to keep themselves safe. It is to keep themselves capable of running away from these champions if it gets to that point. Because
Mhm.
Udyr, he runs on you, he hits you with the bear slap, goes into Phoenix stance, hits you twice, and then boom, he's got just absurd amounts of move speed. And the Skarner, on the other hand, he can pull you into his team at super speed once he hits the EQR combo and pull you all the way back in. So these phase rushes are going to really, they are to either get into the fight or get out of the fight respectively.
Yes. I mean, you could respectfully leave and
Yeah,
exit a fight.
that's true.
Yeah. It's just like you come into Skarner, you grab someone who's just like, excuse me. Excuse me, madam. Gentlemen, I'll be leaving. Oh, excuse me.
Panda Lover.
Yeah, speaking of leaving, Panda Lover is just going to immediately make Gambit go all the way back to the summoner's platform. He's going to pick up first blood 2.5 minutes into this game.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about how like early levels and that first item breakpoint, those are the times where Panda Lover can make something happen if Gambit is not playing respectfully enough. He did not play respectfully enough. That is the word of the day today, guys. And ends up costing his team first blood and his flash and his teleport.
Today's word is respectfully. The letter of today is Q. And today's number is 2.
Or is it
Ooh,
going to
we
be
might have
3? Because
yeah, at 3 minutes we might have another kill. It looks like we might have something here. We have 3 members closing in on Udyr here. Looks like they're immediately going to back ways. He's gone back. Ooh, no. Yeah.
nah, he's just taking the scuttle, and
Yeah.
FBD Shadow's going to give it.
Yeah. Looks like the number for today is still 2.
Yeah, and with the rise of the fasting Senna coming back here, want to point out kind of why it started coming back. Oh, is Blue Dragon always getting?
Yeah, Fallen's dealing a lot of damage here. Loch Ness rooted up, going to be forced to be eaten by Tom Kench here. Didn't take a huge chunk of damage, but neither of them are going to be taken down just yet. We do have a ping in the river here. Skarner catching up to Udyr, maybe? Nope. Turns out Udyr is just a little faster than Skarner here.
Yeah, so part of why the fasting Senna has come back has been she got a buff to her passive, where if she does not kill the minion, there's a much higher chance that you will see a soul pop out. Obviously, that works really well for support Senna, but it works really well if you just don't take farm at all.
Yeah. Turns out that if you're quote-unquote support, you still get a lot. And
Conqueror.
speaking of a lot, that's a lot of damage from Panda Lover. Down onto Gambit here. He just needs one more
Flash.
Q. Instead, he's just going to do one more auto. And that's going to be 2 for 0 up in the top lane.
Yeah, and now you talked about how, Malphite should be fine in the mid game once those items come in, but now at this point the lead is too big. Even into that mid game, this Irelia is going to be a problem, and she's going to be able to run over top lane or take that lead to other lanes and either confirm objectives or gets those lanes ahead themselves.
Yeah, and a lot of the success that we've seen from teams utilizing early leads from their top laners is having them just go to those other lanes, like you said. Like, once you've won your lane, that's great, but like if you just sit in that lane forever, you're not really doing a whole lot. Dragon Lolly taking a huge amount of damage here. Rooted down on the ground. He's going to force the flash away. Going to turn that gray health into a shield. Aurelios is going to flash forward, and he's going to get killed. Now that focus is on Loch Ness Unicorn, but he's going to get away to safety. 1 for 0 in the bot lane.
Yeah, Gravitum doing a lot of work there, getting the slows down, getting the root down, and they were pushed way too far up for Blue Dragon Lolly to be up that far. So ends up costing them another kill here, and things like this composition from Sand Shadows, they are very, very good when ahead. They struggle when behind, but when they are ahead, they are going to demolish people.
That's a really great Aurelia ultimate there. Holy moly, a lot of damage. And it's funny because FBD Shadow doing a real great job of coming in through the alcove there. It's like, I'm going to be real sneaky again, get this good. Oh, he's dead. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, goodbye. I didn't need the gold. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No, that's cool. I'll just go take his jungle, I guess.
Did show, though. So Nightsaw is going to start this dragon. That is the right call here, especially because the bot lane has backed off. And Fallen, correctly kind of backing off there, not knowing his jungler showed up top. They don't want to be pushed up there. The ward being cleared here. This would be a scary place for Fallen and Hilsey to stay up. So they are correctly just going back, doing the Gromp, while their jungler, while the enemy jungler takes that dragon.
And it's also important to note that with the placement of the third crab, that is something that you can do normally. Like even if FBD Shadow hadn't shown top lane, there is still a world where you could have snuck the dragon down the bot side. But you're saying like, okay, if the jungler is top getting that third scuttle, then I can stay down here and sneak this dragon, which Udyr can do fairly well.
Yeah.
1.9k gold now separates these two teams. 7.5 minutes into this game, 1 dragon picked up for Flash Engage here. How are we looking as we're getting closer and closer to this mid game here?
I mean, Flash Engage is already in a real rough spot here as they need to make something happen.
Yeah, Sand Shadows might be in a good spot right here. Blue Dragon Lolly's stunned up, but it looks like Senna is the target here. She's going to get suppressed and pulled in, but Hilsey is so very low. 1 for 1. They're going to trade back and forth the support for the 80 carry here, and now Nightsaw is the focus, and they're going to find Blue Dragon Lolly instead. Roadhouse is here. He's going to pull in the Shockwave, but here comes Syndra in from the side. They're going to be able to find the kill onto Skarner, a 2 for 2 in the bottom lane.
Yeah, just what seemed like a good start there just kind of slowly turned itself back around. The early gank, the Skarner gank coming through, getting the suppression onto the Senna and just killing her, pulling her away from the Tahm Kench was great. Hilsey, though, getting a little bit too far forward, ends up taking so much damage and going down in the process, trying to confirm more kills. So Fallen having to stay real far back, stay alive. And the mid laners coming down as well. Important to note, both TPs were used in that. So, or actually no, Roadhouse did walk down, but just TP'd back to lane here. Panda Lover is just gonna...
Yeah, just keep bullying the game. I'm gonna force the unstoppable force there, and that is a huge tool just spent there. I mean, it is gonna go on cooldown for not very long. FBD Shadow gonna spot out Nightsaw here. Roadhouse is here to assist. FBD Shadow might not be able to fight this Rift Herald here. Ooh, maybe they will. They do have top cryo.
Yeah. FBD Shadow can take this easy because Panda Lover is so far ahead. Gambit can't do anything to stop them from taking this. This is what happens if you're a jungler and your one lane starts getting ahead. You just play around that lane and grab those objectives as much as you can.
Yeah.
So good move there from FBD Shadow to recognize what the win condition right now is, because the win condition is play around Aurelia.
Especially for what's coming up into this mid game here, as everyone starts to get their as everyone has now gotten their ultimates. So it should be a little bit more hectic gameplay. Ooh, Udyr coming over the wall here, gonna be found out by Skarner here. He's gonna be suppressed. He's gonna get stunned up. Gonna force to flash over the wall, and the rest of the team is not gonna follow suit. They're gonna grab us. They're going to call it a. That's a win for them by picking up the flash.
Yeah, Nightsaw trying to do something for his Malphite here, but did not think about Shadow being in that bush.
Yeah.
So does walk face first into a Skarner, and that could have gone a lot worse, honestly. So you take those. I don't think the correct call, though, is for Nightsaw to help this top lane. Gambit just needs to stay back. Gambit just needs to not die anymore in this lane, and your time is better spent in other lanes.
Yeah, agreed. And oh my god, FBD Shadow is just gonna stay up here for. I feel like he's been in that bush for a long time, like that specific bush.
Yeah, he went away and grabbed something, but did come back.
Went
around.
back and picked Krugs. Like he was sitting in that lane for that bush for a long time. Udyr shows up, doesn't get the kill, leaves, grabs Krugs, goes back to the bush. Like he's pitched a tent in the top lane for some reason. I'm not sure why.
He's trying to counter gank.
Yeah.
Basically, he's like he does not want the Irelia to lose the lead, because they know if Irelia loses the lead, that lane is going to just fall apart. So with Panda Lover being ahead, they want to ensure that stays that way as much as possible. Fallen, though.
Yeah, he's going to get snared up. He is the target. He's already taken a huge chunk of damage. That's going to be the charm. He's going to get eaten. The Sun Ultimate's coming across. Fallen now forced to flash backwards. He does have the flamethrower. So that's a big chunk of AoE damage he's throwing out. Skarner is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Senna, and that's a 2-for-0 in the bot lane.
Yeah, they over-engaged their Fallen, not dying there. The Encore hitting perfectly, and then Blue Dragon Lolly actually saving the Aphelios a little bit there. Did eat him up as the Senna ult was coming across, so did not actually get the damage down, I believe, onto Aphelios. And once Skarner showed up, like, Hilsey was popping damage all the way onto Loch Ness Unicorn the entire time that Fallen was dealing with Tahm Kench. And with the Skarner's help, that always works out in the favor of the Seraphine there.
Right.
So good gank pressure there, and good heads up play by FBD Shadow to get down there and help them make sure they won that fight.
Yeah. And something I think we haven't mentioned yet is just how much multi-target damage, I'll say, that Aphelios and Seraphine have between their abilities, and Aphelios with the rocket launcher, of course, not the rocket launcher, excuse me, the flamethrower, and also the multi-target abilities that Seraphine has with her as well. So that was a huge thing that came out in that team fight there. Just, you know, Seraphine and Aphelios being able to hit multiple characters here. Ooh, we might have something coming here. Yeah, Roadhouse getting rooted up. He's taking a huge amount of damage. Fallen taking incredibly low. FBD Shadow now underneath the turret. He's taking a lot of damage from it, though. He's going to be able to get out alive after he's flashed, of course. The rest of the team is here to support, but both teams are going to back away here.
Yeah, really trying to lock down that kill there, but lucky that the tunnel vision did not bite him there. So that was... that could have gone really badly.
Yeah.
that was an ill-advised dive. You do not dive Orianna through her ball, because the shockwave will just ruin your day. Fallen doing a lot of damage right now, is 4-0, and those are the two people now. So it was just the Aurelia, but
yeah, DVS Reform taking a huge amount of damage. Blue Dragon Lolly not even able to set up the gray health shield. Dane taken down very quickly between a lot of stuns, and that is a huge swing in this mid lane here.
Yeah. So now the one lane that was not going disastrously now is starting to get out of hand. Hilsey now taking some damage, but here comes the Encore.
Yeah, that's going to force a flash from Loch Ness Unicorn here. And once again, just continuing to pressure this mid lane here, as Syndra and Orianna have been forced to go bot lane here. Gambit still just forced to sit in this top lane against Panda Lover here, not having a great time. Down nearly 50 CS in comparison to Irelia, and that's really what you don't want to see. Oh no, Panda Lover already huge amount of damage on the Gambit here, trying to return.
He's surviving.
Yeah,
he's not dead.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's all you can hope for at this point. Walk up to the minions. Irelia is going to hit you. You're going to grab a couple. You're going to steal her movement speed and walk away. And hopefully you can stay in this game. Luckily for Malphite, as long as he gets to use his ultimate in these team fights, he should still lose.
Yeah, but you did see he like it was half a joke, but he did survive, and he is surviving easier now. So as long as he like it is requiring the Skarner to come up here now to really get a kill, but Gambit
Now, once again,
Shadow.
just really,
Jeez.
yeah, yeah. Once again, forcing to use the ultimate makes his TPs just that much less impactful. As some of these neutral objectives, especially with Rift Herald up in Live Night Saw in the top lane here, gonna get actually a decent chunk of damage onto Shadow here, taking him to about half HP there.
Yeah, Bami Cinder helping Nightsaw out a little bit there, and Fallen gonna get rooted, but not important.
Yeah,
has the protection of the Seraphine, has the Moonstone Renewer on the Seraphine as well now, so going to be able to keep people alive more and more as mid laners have gone to that bottom side now. Orianna looks to be in a spot of trouble if they commit to this, but they're not going to. I'm looking at this now and I'm trying to figure out, like, if you are Flash Engage, what do you do here? And I think the right call is to try and get to these objectives early and set up a good team fight for yourself. You have the tools in the Malphite ult, in the Orianna ult, the Udyr being able to run people down. If you can catch Sand Shadows being lazy about it, and just kind of showing up to it late because they expect everybody to not be ready for it, you can get something going. But right now you can see Sand Shadows are always the first people to objectives.
yeah. They have started the dragon. They pulled it out, and now Flash Engage. See if they do anything about that. No engage has started just yet. Nightsaw's going over the wall. The ultimate from Senna is going to happen, but he's just going to back in the pit. Maybe he can get out. Oh, wow. Wait, you can do that?
Yeah.
Wow. Learn something new every day. FPD Shadow looking for an engage here.
Oh,
Dragon Lolly is pretty
it.
close. Yeah, he's going to get stunned. He does pick up the Udyr here, pulling it back to the team. Here comes the Malphite ultimate. That's going to be huge. But a three-man charm from the Seraphine is going to get them really, really mess up their tempo there as the rest of the team is now diving in. Now there's only 2 members of Flash Engage left as they're taking a huge amount of damage from the Cinder here. Gambit is the only one up, and they're looking for the last kill, hungry for the goal, but they're not going to be able to find it. They're going to find 2 turrets instead and be like, okay, I guess we don't want to go here anymore. You can have that. 4 for 1 in favor of Sand Shadows here.
Yeah, if the gold was a little bit different, then this would have been a much different team fight there. As you saw, it started off so great, Gambit hitting a massive unstoppable force. But unfortunately, Roadhouse was sitting onto the side there, did get caught out just on the other side of that red buff, and just immediately blown up by the Syndra ult. And without the Orianna to pump out damage, that made their team comp just so little DPS, because especially when you look at how far behind this Senna is right now. Has the Kraken Slayer, but nothing else in the pocket, and Aphelios already a full item up on that. So once Orianna was down, there was just not any damage left in the tank, and Irelia did fall, but did get a lot of damage out in the meantime.
Yeah, not to mention the huge Seraphine ultimate from Hilsey there, being able to make sure at least it was like 3 or maybe even 4 members of the team were charmed, and then were immediately easy pickings for the Irelia ultimate as well. So very, very well played by the Sand Shadows there. Another turret being picked up for the Sand Shadows here. Continue into this game. About a little less than 7,000 gold now separates these 2 teams, and that is a huge hill to climb at this stage of the game. 1,000, what do you think about, how do you think Flash Engage is getting it back into this game now?
I mean, I think other than what I was talking about earlier, the best call is just scale, just sit back, try and stem as much bleeding as you can. You can see the amount of vision that sand shadows have in the river right now. It is a lot. Like the river is lit up. It is entirely theirs, and they have complete control over it. Flash and Gage have no option to get there. So what you do is you just push the wave out, and once it gets past a certain point, you just let it go. You just say we that is not our territory anymore.
Oh
Ooh.
my god.
Yeah.
That's just 2 spells from Syndra there. Definitely not what you want to be seeing at this stage of the game. Night Saw might be looking for an in here. Gambit might also be in the top lane. Night Saw getting in front of the Syndra here. That's a huge amount of damage from the Udyr here. He might be able to find the kill. Forced to flash away. Hilsey coming in from the side. Fallen as well. The whole team is down here. They're looking for a little bit of revenge. They can't beat the crap out of our mid laner without something in response. Here comes SPD Shadows, going to be able to find the stun. There's the Syndra ultimate as well. Night Saw is taken incredibly low here. The Senna ultimate is going to come across, going to shield him up for just a little bit longer. He's still looking to run away. Meanwhile, Roadhouse is fighting Fallen and Hilsey in the back line here. Night Saw is looking for the Trick 2G special. He's slowed. He's stunned. He's running. There's the bear. There's the turtle. There's the death. Oh, no.
You were having fun with that one.
It was so close. I was like so ready for him to get away. And I was like, no, no. Oh, man. It was so close, yet so far. Oh, man. Night Saw, very, very good attempt. But, you know, and Skarner is also pretty fast, turns out. Oh, man.
Yeah,
That's...
and that was just a big over engage on the bottom side there. We talked about how that you know, anywhere near that river area just does not belong to Flash Engage there, and they overstepped their boundaries. The rest of the team came in to help out the mid laner there. DVS got low but did not fall, and the rest of the team was there to clean things up. I was actually kind of surprised at how low Aphelios did go in that fight. The Orianna Shockwave is scary.
Yeah. All right, they're gonna pick up the mid. We're gonna pick up the mid turret here, Sand Shadows, with the help of Shelly, and they're immediately gonna go over to this Cloud Drake here. Now, what do you think about Cloud Soul and these free Cloud Drakes that are going over to Sand Shadows? This has to be a huge resource for them, right?
Yeah, it's definitely big. DVS is in a bad spot here.
Yeah. Oh no, that's a 5-man charm. It's going to be immediately responded to with the Malphite ultimate, but it looks like it's a little too late as Udyr's about to go down as well. He does, and now the rest of the team gonna follow through. Gambit, you're in between a rock and a hard place, buddy. And Tandalover might be looking for more of that top lane damage here. Panda, can he be able to find it here? He's gonna get that speed up.
For his
there's
life.
the stun, there's the dash, there's the Blade of the Rune King, but he's going to get away. That's the go button for Sand Shadows to immediately go to Baron.
Yeah, it was once again looking like it could have been a good fight there. A big Shockwave and a big Malphite ult there where made things look good for Flash Engage, but Hilsey, this is why you ban Seraphine. Like,
yeah. Yep.
Just the ultimate is so powerful and goes so far.
Yeah.
The 5-man ulti combined with the damage coming in behind it, even though it didn't kill Loch Ness Unicorn and Roadhouse, it forced them to play so far back just to not die that they were basically non-factors in the fight. And you're not going to be able to kill anybody on that Sand Shadows team with the Udyr and the Malphite and the Tahm Kench.
Yeah. And not to mention, it looks like it's already back up. Seraphine's ultimate. And so like, oh, she just used it a little while ago. Oh, it's already back up. So they realistically could fight one more time if they really wanted to. But it looks like they're going to go for a bit of a split push here, which much to, I hope Fury is watching. And that's all I have to say. Fury has been talking nonstop about teams who actually use the Baron buff here, but it looks like, oh no, Roadhouse is going to be brought through the ringer here. FB Shadow picking him up, making him feel the sting and pulling him through the Syndra. That's going to be Nightsaw flashing into Fallen. There's going to be ultimate. He's going to be charmed up. Nightsaw is taken very, very low here. Fallen still at full HP. You cannot kill this Aphelios here. Irelia on the backline, going to be able to find Senna as well. That is already 3 kills in this team fight. The Irelia ultimate going to be able to find Lewd Dragon Lolly, but it looks like he's just going to back away. FBD Shadow underneath the turret, going to find the stun. Is he looking for more? Is he just going to 1v1? The rest of the team is like, yo, dog, we got you if you want to keep going, but looks like they're going to pick up the turret and the inhibitor as well.
Yeah, this game is not looking good.
Oh, yeah, they're forced to dash around. Ooh, yeah, okay, here comes Nightsaw on the Panda Lover here. He's getting a decent chunk of damage. Lewd Dragon Lolly going to spin him up underneath the turret, but there's the Syndra ultimate going to be able to find the kill. There's the Shockwave, and they're going to use a huge chunk of damage, but it's not going to be enough. Roadhouse is now going to be the next target for Irelia, is going to go down as well. There is only one turret separating Sand Shadows from the Nexus, and now it's wide open. The team is now going 2 for 2. They're going to pick up the Malphite here. They're going to pick up one more kill, and now Nightsaw is the target. They're going to try to pad their KDA numbers just a little bit more, but Fallen, report him for feeding. 10-1, come on, buddy.
Yeah, Fallen does fall only at the end there, but massive win for Sand Shadows. That was absurd how big all those players got there. You can just go down the score lines there. 6-1-8, 3-1-12, 4-0-8, 10-1-7, 3-1-17. Like, everybody popped off, and it started, just off in that top lane. Just then nothing could happen on that bottom side. Fallen and Hilsey started hitting their item break points first and going in on these fights, and then team fights happened, and these Seraphine ultimates were just huge in negating the AoE ultimates that Gambit and Roadhouse were able to bring. So
yeah,
really well played and solid game from Sand Shadows.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want to chalk it up all to the Seraphine pick, but it feels like it was all chalked up to the Seraphine pick. We looked at a lot of these team fights, and if say maybe it was a Sona instead of a Seraphine, right? 2 similar supports with some similar ultimates here. It probably wouldn't have been as impactful. That ultimate is so long range, and it charms too, which means you're now walking towards Seraphine, and that puts you out, not only puts you out of position, it also slows you as well. And there are times in those team fights where it was hitting 3 to 5 members, and that's so huge to pull them closer to such short range champions as Aphelios, as Irelia, like pulling them into the damage dealers, and that's really huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you mentioned, the Irelia, want to give major props to Panda Lover. They're going like 3-0 in the first like 7 or 8 minutes of the game.
Yep.
Panda Lover just completely controlling that top lane and not letting this Malphite get to a point where he could show up in those team fights and be impactful.
Yeah, so really well played game from Sand Shadows here. We're going to take just a quick break, and we'll be back with game 2 of Flash Engage versus Sand Shadows right after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Flash Engage versus Sand Shadows Style Esports Season 6. I'm once again your host, Shinkari, joined once again by Thousand Eyes as we are getting into the picks and bans of Game 2. Now, we did see we did see Flash Engage rather lose Game 1. Thousand Eyes, what do you think they should change up in the picks and bans as they try to win this Game 2?
Well, we've already seen some of it, the Seraphine being taken out here.
Yeah.
That I think is a big one there. I think the other is that you can't pick something that is as weak in lane as the Malphite and get away with it. I feel like they disrespected Panda a little bit, and
Yeah.
he kind of made him pay for it. So Panda, super strong as a top laner, gonna be playing these aggro champions every single time. You need to get something like, obviously they're banning the Shen for a reason.
Yeah.
You need to get if you want to run a tank, you need to get one that can duel effectively. I think the Ornn is a possibility.
Right.
That is one that is played a lot by Gambit, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that come through. You've also got the Skarner being banned away here now, so FBD Shadow not going to be able to play that this time around again. I like this already better.
Right.
From Flash Engage, they're taking away some of the issues from the last game.
Right. And I think what I don't want to see is a lot of pitfall traps that some amateur teams will fall into of, hey, we lost to this last round, so let's ban away that comp, and kind of ignoring stuff that's very powerful. Luckily, they haven't fallen too deep into the trap just yet, as Rel is being picked up by Sand Shadows here.
Yeah, Rel is interesting. I say that because Rel can very easily turn into a champion that costs you more than she gives you. I've said this a bunch of times in other games that I've casted, but when you pick Rel, you are picking a support that is going in and not coming out.
Right.
Somebody is dying, one way or the other, and the Jinx being taken here, I love this. Okay, so Jinx has been buffed repeatedly in the last couple of patches. Her range on her rocket launchers got increased, as well as the attack speed debuff on the rockets has been lowered, meaning that the rockets will come out faster, more often, I guess. And the karma being taken as well. Jinx also got a base health buff to help her in the early game here. So I really like this. This is going to be a champion that can scale up really well and can pop off if you want to play around it.
Yeah. She also got a minor change to her chompers as well, and a bit of her health buff. Ooh. Is this the Mundo?
Mundo?
Is it the FF Please Mundo? It's not.
It is
but
not.
I'm just, a little upset, but Mundo is still a pretty good pick. Got buffed got buffed way back in 11.2. Is a pretty good farmer in the jungle and is pretty strong right now regardless. So definitely interesting to see, even though it's not going to be played on FF Please, who is one of the members of Flash Engage. So it should be interesting to see here. Kaisa also being picked up by the Sand Shadows. Interesting to me that she got picked, especially because she got a lot of attention at the last patch.
Yeah, she did get a decent bit. I don't know if it's enough to really knock her down a lot. She's just really strong. The big thing is just her ability to hit those breakpoints on her Q like fairly early on, as well as just the E is not super far off. They obviously Flash Engage, they know this is not a Mundo top. Panda Lover is not going to play Mundo in his life. So you're feeling safe here, banning out more top laners. You're getting the Ornn now, making sure that Gambit is capable of playing something, like I said, that can be a little bit more aggressive in the early game, a little bit more of a dueling tank, as much as that exists. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, Sandshad is saying, okay, fine, you want the Ornn, you'll get the Ornn, but we're going to take away the Udyr and the Orianna, two of the champions that kind of did okay in the last game that we had.
Yeah. I did think that DVS Reforms Oriana was pretty good, landed a lot of pretty good shockwaves, and wasn't falling behind too far in gold, even though the team was falling behind in terms
That was
of
the
KD.
Roadhouse.
Yeah. Oh, that was Rodex. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, I just want to make sure credit goes to
Yeah.
the right person. Yeah.
Yeah. You're
So,
right. You're right. I
yeah,
don't remember names.
that's fair, fair. I get that.
Yeah.
The Lee Sin being taken here. So I would not be surprised to see Lee Sin kind of pop back up in the meta as a whole right now. The
Hmm.
jungle, like we mentioned earlier, jungle camps have been nerfed. They give less experience, give less gold overall. And that is going to favor gank heavy junglers. You're going to get more out of ganks than you would have previously compared to the jungle camps. Lee Sin, known really well for his early game ganking
Hmm.
presence, and that I think is a very, very good. I like to see stuff like the Lee Sin come out with that in mind. We have
Right.
the Gangplank being taken here in the Kennen, so this is going to be a Kennen mid. Blind picking here. Combine that with a Gangplank ulti. That is really strong. That
Yeah.
is a really strong team fight you got there.
Yeah. I'm actually. Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. This actually, if that goes over to Roadhouse here, Roadhouse is a bit of an Anivia player, and by a bit, I mean if you look at his game history, over the past few seasons, he's played a lot of Anivia. Like we're talking like 150 games minimum across the past 5 seasons. 233 in season 6, 244 in season 7, 159 in season 8, 150 in season 9, 165 in season 10. This is a character who is possibly more is super synonymous with Roadhouse here. So I'm really excited to see him play Anivia here, even though she's received a little bit of nerfs in the in 11.2.
She's still overall stronger than she was in previous patches, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's you'll take the nerfs if it means that the other buffs are kind of sticking around.
Right.
But with that said, yeah, going up against the Kennen, not a super terrible matchup. Still, Anivia's early game not super great. But Kennen also not going to be able to take advantage of the Anivia as much as Kennen would in a top lane matchup. So, one thing I did want to point out actually though is I like the pickup here of the Kennen purely because it means Rel is not your source of engage here.
Right.
Rel's crash down is very slow, very telegraphed, very easy to dodge. A lot of champions could just walk out of it. So Rel is not a great engage champion. She is great as counter engage. She is great as a secondary engage. You do
Right.
not want to rely on her to be the main engage for your team composition.
Right.
Kennen, however, absolutely can be. Kennen can
Right.
dive in, hit that R button, and stun a bunch of people up, which then Rel can follow up on. So I
Yeah.
like this combination here from Sand Shadows. It's very clearly put together with the thought that they do need that from somewhere other than the support role, and they've covered that up really well.
Yeah. I think my only problem is
Oh,
that
wait.
Kennen. Oh.
Hold up. This is Gangplank mid and Kennen
Oh.
top.
Oh. Okay.
I
Okay.
like this.
Interesting.
I like
do
this
like
swap.
that. Yeah, I do like this swap as well. I like it because putting a ranged champion up against Ornn, and especially a very slippery one like Kennen, means that like a lot of these duels will be in Panda Lover's favor. And it's also putting Panda Lover on a fairly aggressive champion as well. We've seen how he plays on the excuse me, I'm already brain farting. Excuse me.
The Irelia.
The Irelia. And so let's see how he continues to play with these aggressive picks into the top lane.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up actually that like with the Malphite from the last game, one of the aggressive champions that would have AP damage would have been the Kennen.
Hmm.
I'm kicking myself for not bringing that up because it would have been good to
Yeah.
see that now and be like, see guys, see,
I
I'm
t-
smart. I told you.
thousand
Don't
eyes,
flame me in the
thousand
chat.
brain cells. That's
Stop flaming me in the chat, guys. uh, but no, I like this. I like this swap here. The Gangplank in the mid lane, a lot more aggressive, going to be able to punish this
Hmm.
Anivia a lot more than the Kennen would. Because
Yeah.
in order for Kennen to really get the damage down, he has to dash through his targets, and you're
Hmm.
not going to be able to do that with the Anivia. Gangplank,
Right.
however, he just has to put those barrels down and just smash the barrels into the Anivia. Early game, she has no answer to that. She has no way to stop him from doing that, and she has no way to dodge those barrels.
Right.
Meanwhile, like that top lane there, Panda Lover, auto the Ornn to just high heavens. You don't need to worry about anything. You could just keep autoing the Ornn over and over again. If he
Yeah.
tries to dash in on you, you just E away.
Yeah. And not to mention, like, I think my biggest problem with the Kennen pick is what I usually say is the Kennen is pretty item dependent. Like, he's very squishy at base and needs the Zhonya's hourglass, needs the proto belt in order to be able to get into these fights, stun people up, and then immediately get out of there. Because if he's in these fights for too long, he doesn't get the stuns on the right people, or if he doesn't have a Zhonya's hourglass, then he's going to be just easy pickings for the enemy team because he's a squishy character in the middle of at least 5 people. So putting Panda Lover on Kennen means that Kennen is going to be able to farm pretty safely in the top lane, being played on a person who plays pretty aggressively against an Ornn who is melee range and also not as aggressive as some other characters would be. So these 1v1 duels might end up being one-sided once again.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that is going to be something to keep an eye on. These solo lanes here. Did want to touch lightly on that bottom lane there. That one is going to be a bit rough there for Hilsey and Fallen because the Jinx range is going to quickly outrange the Kaisa, and Karma's early game is exceedingly strong here. And with that, that will allow Nightsaw to play around that bottom side. Mundo's early clear is a little bit sketchy. And if Lee Sin can get in there on that early game and get backed up by the Jinx there, that could be a win condition for Flash Engage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to be certainly a match to watch. But with that, we are going to take just a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Game 2 of Flash Engage versus Sand Shadows. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports Season 6. We are on the Rift with Sand Shadows versus Flash Engage Game 2. I am once again Shinkari, joined by Thousand Eyes, as we do have a bit of an invade here onto the red buff.
You said that with like so much attitude. We are on the Rift.
Yeah, on the Rift.
Totally
Yeah, as if we could
radical.
be somewhere else. Totally radical, dude. Yeah. Watch me kickflip in the river, dude. Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
It reminds me of the, did you ever see the Skippy squeeze sticks commercials? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, in the early 2000s, Skippy Peanut Butter tried to make a Go-Gurt competitor and basically made
I do
Go-Gurt.
remember this.
Okay, but instead of Go-Gurt, it was peanut butter.
Yeah.
And they had like this whole commercial of like this kid, and he was like at a skate park, and he was like skateboarding and also eating peanut butter out of a tube, and it was like, oh yeah, Skippy squeeze sticks for all the time you need to eat peanut butter, you know.
Food in a tube. The only way you'll eat it if you skateboard long enough.
Yeah. You either die a skateboarder or live long enough to see yourself eating peanut butter out of a tube. Oh man.
Anyway,
League of Legends, am I right?
League of Legends is occurring on our screens. Yeah, and we do see top lane is where Nightsaw is starting out. I do believe, so they did see him doing the red buff. They did not see him on the track over to the blue buff there. So this might be a clean steal despite having a lot of wards down there. Good pathing there from Nightsaw.
Yeah, this is going to give him a very, very early lead, especially because my thought is like, hey, if Mundo is going to be power farming that bot side, I'm immediately going to go buff to buff and take as much as I can away from him so that he's forced to come into my side of the jungle where I can duel him.
Yeah, and he's got to take the Gromp away too, and that is like he can get out of that clean, has the smite, uses it, and will back off here. So good pathing here from Nightsaw. Is going to run into FBD Shadow.
Yeah.
Is low.
Yeah, he's already half HP. Nightsaw might actually get the kill here. Red buff is ticking, but he's going to spend his flash and get the kill. DVS reform now in this blue buff area here. Nightsaw dealing a huge amount of damage. Ornn coming in from the side. That's going to be the knockup. That's going to be 2 kills near the blue buff for Sand Shadows so early in this game. Excuse me, Flash Engage, as the bond side is now the focus here. Loch Ness gonna go down, and now Resilient is the focus. Healsy gonna back away, and it looks like that horse is now pants for just a little bit.
That horse is now pants, and now back to a horse again.
Yeah, she's gonna knock Jinx back towards the Kaisa here. Gonna take a huge chunk of damage and gonna run back to her turret. Not gonna find another kill, but that is a very, very good trade in the bot lane.
Yeah, and that needed to happen too because of what happened up on that top side there. Nightsaw.
Oh no, the bloodbath continues to the stun, lands. Gonna force the eat an orange here, not gonna find the kill here. Mundo waiting in the bush, gonna duel the Nightsaw 1v1. This time he's the one who's low. Mundo misses the cleaver, but finds the kill. FBD Shadow getting a bit of revenge in the river, evening up this gold a little bit.
Yeah, that one feels bad there because you got that early kill there. Like we mentioned, FBD Shadow gonna get low in the early jungle there, but if you just walk into the bush and sit there and heal up, well, then you're fine. Like you don't care. You don't care about being low in the jungle because you're not in the jungle there. And yeah, now FBD Shadow gonna get the kill, gotta take the blue buff away, says this is mine. If you're gonna take my jungle, I'm gonna take yours. And now
Rel finding the knockup here. He's gonna get chained up by the Karma, gonna get rooted down. Jinx now looking for the return damage and actually dealing a decent chunk. Gonna force them back. No kills have been found just yet. Meanwhile, the top lane Panda Lover just going to town on Gambit here. So much damage.
FBD Shadow is hovering on that bottom side there. I think they're half expecting Nightsaw to show up. But he will not, so they are instead gonna shove this wave in. FBD Shadow's going to make sure his bot lane gets back to the base without running into any jungler there, and get a clean back off.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Roadhouse not really having a great time against this Gangplank here. Gangplank doing a great job of conserving his mana so that he can poke away at this Anivia and maybe get her to pop her egg.
Yeah, will just kind of farm up as much as she can there. Good autos on the barrels, but
yeah,
here comes Nightsaw.
in for here comes the river. The stun's going to be good. Going to be oranged up. DVS taking a huge chunk of damage, forced to back away here.
Yeah, look at the items here. Lee Sin already has a serrated Dirk, so like this is a very scary Lee Sin. Level 4, but does not matter. Will just get a bunch of damage down onto you if you're in the wrong spot.
Yeah, this is the lead that we need to. Ooh, Lee Sin coming back in here, dealing a huge chunk of damage. DVS reform, trying to kite through the minions here. He's gonna miss the Q, but he's not gonna miss the kill. Nightsaw going to be picking up the kill in the mid lane here. Here comes Rel. The horse is now pants. Looking for the stun. They're going to be able to find it. Resilience is going to be the target. It looks like they're swapping over to Loch Ness Unicorn here. Now Hilsey is going to be the focus instead. Anivia is here. Kai'Sa's not there. And they're going to be able to pick up the kill onto Rel on the bot side.
Yeah, with the back there, that was an easy go button for Roadhouse on the TP there. Heads down there, gets the assist, will head back into the mid lane there. And Nightsaw getting that kill in the mid lane really opened up that map. It was before the level 6 came through from DBA Reform, so meant that there was no Cannon Barrage to counteract that TP, and there was no opportunity to come back in and try and help the team.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to be picking up Dragon here as well with that bot priority and that mid priority. So looks like this is going to be an easy early game pickup. That's an Infernal Drake.
Really playing this well. They are just they recognize the type of tempo they have, and they are just utilizing it to the best of their ability here. A lot of teams you'd see get a lead like this and try and slowly push it here, but Nightsaw and Roadhouse have been just really trying to abuse this lead as much as they can.
Yeah, and I think we also saw this last week when Flash Engage went up against Cosmic Remix. We saw in game 1 they were having a hard time. They weren't able to really clinch it, but game 2 they were able to quickly turn it around. FBD Shadow in the top lane here, gonna throw a cleaver, not gonna be able to follow up here.
Cannon Barrage used on the bot side there, so that will not be available in the next couple of minutes.
Looks like it was used to try to slow down the enemy team in order for Rel and Kai'Sa to catch up, but it looked like they were able to follow.
I think it was a disengage there because Nightsaw showed up and they wanted to get the Lee Sin away.
Yeah, they might be a little bit of an issue here. Hilsey gonna turn into pants in order to get away.
You are just gonna say that every single time, aren't you?
Well, what else is happening? I mean, I guess she's dismounting, but is she really that?
She's crashing down. That's the name of the skill.
Yeah, but the horse is turning into pants. There is no more horse. There is only pants. Friendship with horse ended. Pants is my new best friend now. Lee Sin coming in from the jungle here. They're looking for the gang. Fallen might be the target here. There's the ward dash. There's the Q. There's the slow, but that's going to be Hilsey finding a huge stun on the backline there. Kennen is teleporting in, going to dive onto the duo, and they're going to be able to find an easy kill. Nightsaw going to find a kill in response, but he's going to die to the turret. 3 kills in the bot for 1.
Yeah, 2 important things in that fight there. The immediate TP from Panda Lover to get into that fight and get behind them because of that ward that he was TPing to. And the other one was the massive stun from Hilsey as Gambit has to flash away from that Mundo. The Hilsey just getting a flash stun onto the entire group there just paused the fight for long enough for the TP to end and Panda Lover to clean things up.
Yeah, this is certainly a different Flash Engage than we saw from the previous game. So, you know, even though Sand Shadows is still looking to be pretty good here, they still have 1,000 and some change over Flash Engage at this point. But I still think Flash Engage is still in this game. They still are playing pretty well. So see how the rest of this game pans out.
Yeah, the big thing is this bot lane CS difference here. A little bit of the top lane, but the bottom lane is the big one here because the Kai'Sa got a little bit of an early lead. Hilsey had a couple of really good crash downs that turned into a CS lead for the Kai'Sa, and Kai'Sa does abuse leads fairly well.
Mm-hmm. Minutes here. We do have this game seems to have slowed down just a little bit here. No one's really looking for any big objectives on the map as of right now. Lee Sin,
well,
meanwhile, in the top lane. Ooh, that's a really great combo. Panda Lover going to deal a huge chunk of damage to Nightsaw, though. Nightsaw being taken down with this, the last auto attack now, and now it's Gambit versus Panda Lover here, but Panda Lover is just going to use as much of this range as he can. Gambit looking for something here, but is not going to be able to find it. Meanwhile, Roadhouse has found out FEV Shadow in the jungle here, and Panda Lover is just going to back away from the Gambit in the top lane, and he's going to get away with a 1-for-0.
Panda Lover doing a lot more damage than Nightsaw was expecting, I believe, there. And now bottom lane is looking to be in some bad territory.
Yeah, Ornn is using the TP here. They're going to look to take down Shelly and then maybe turn it onto FBD Shadow here. He's knocked up into the air. There's the slow and the root. He's going to go down, and that's going to be a kill being picked up for Flash Engage here. And they're also going to kill Shelly as well. So pretty well defend there by Flash Engage. Ooh, and Nightsaw might be also looking for a kill onto the Gangplank here. Ornn is here for the support. DVS shot reform, taken very low. Gonna deal as much damage as he can. He's gonna go down. Ornn picking up the kill.
Gambit just kind of walking by, slapping him on the butt and saying, "This is my gold." Now, Nightsaw going to start up this dragon here as Reformed gonna be in that gray area for just a little bit longer. Second dragon of the game. So while it is Sand Shadows that are ahead in terms of gold, I feel like Flash Engage are really the ones controlling the tempo of this game. They are the ones
for sure
moving first in almost every single situation. It is just some misplays or miscalculations that are giving kills over to Sand Shadows here.
Yeah, and they're able to really get some turnaround gold on these off of these kills as well. They're able to get priority once they got priority in the bot lane by forcing by making Hildy and Fallen back after Jelly was killed, and then they were able to get priority mid after they got that kill. So they're like, okay, well, you know, we have priority with both lanes. We might as well just go to the dragon as well. So we now see up 2 dragons now as well, and also we have a Cloud Soul this game. So what do you think about Cloud Soul?
I mean, I'm feeling it. I feel like you can make good use of that for 1, the Mundo, 2, the Kennen, 3, the Kai'Sa, for the Rel here. Even the Rel, like, being able to utilize it pretty darn well by just pulling people back with the magnetic storm there. So that is absolutely one that Flash Engage do not want to give away to Sand Shadows.
You might have a 4-man gank here, and Nivea trying to do her best to get away. She finds the Cloud Soul speed riff little thing there, and she might be able to get away with the skin of her teeth using the wall as well. So, yeesh.
It will survive though. But now we have hit the point where Nivea can farm super easy. Just hit that R button, just wipe out the wave, wait for the next wave to come in, and repeat for about 20 minutes, and you are an online Nivea.
Yeah. Put in the oven. Make sure you grease the pan first. Put in the oven for about 20 minutes, and you'll come out with an Anivia who's been baked to completion with a lot of very strong items.
You're inexperienced, Shinkari.
What do you mean? That's just the recipe for success right there. What?
I guess.
What do you mean?
Was
that not a recipe? Did I not give baking Okay.
That does not mean that it is a successful one.
Well, Gambit's going to take a little bit of punishment from Panda Lover here. That's a huge chunk of damage. FBD Shadow is also up here as well. He'll look for the kill, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to find it. He's going to pop Shelly instead. Shelly, can I have first turret, please?
Yeah, first turret will fall to Shelly.
Ooh, oh no, Night Saw. Well, he was Night Seen, and then he was never Night Seen again.
Then he was Night Gone.
Yeah, Night Saw, and then he was Night Gone. All right, looks like he's just going to immediately be taken out. A kill going over to, I believe, Fallen in the bot side there. That's a decent gold pickup for the bot side here that hasn't had too much action, but has been farming pretty well.
Yeah, Night Saw just running forward a little bit too far. Takes a rel to the face, and you will fall to that most of the time there.
Ooh, Colin taking a huge chunk of damage here. The root is going to happen with Karma here. He's going to be knocked. Brazilian is going to be knocked into the Kaise here. He's going to take a huge chunk of damage. The return kill is going to go onto Loch Ness Unicorn here. And that's going to be a 1-for-1 in the bot lane. Kaise using both summoner spells. Jinx using them as well. 1-for-1 in the bot lane.
Yeah, and overall in that fight, it works out better, I believe, for Resilient there, because while it was the summoners for both sides, the kill going over to Fallen there is definitely very, very nice. I actually misspoke there. I thought it was Fallen that fell first. But Fallen getting the kill there, and then Loch Ness having to confirm the kill on the back end there. Usually a trade you enjoy if you are the AD carry getting the kill.
Mythic items being completed across the board. Night Saw might find out Hilsey here. He's going to dash right on top, going to find the slow. The stun's going to follow up, but they are a million miles away, so they're not going to be able to follow up on any sort of DPS there. Hilsey's just going to back.
We're Dragon of the game now. This is one where you're saying to yourself, Sand Shadows need to be able to get in on this, and they realize it.
Yeah, there's a teleport going to be from Panda Lover right now. The whole team is here. Orange as well. That's going to be Mundo jumping over the wall here. The Cloud Drake is going to go over to the blue side here, and now the fight is going to ensue. Nightsaw going to kick him towards the team, but that's a huge stun by Kennen in the backline. That's 4 members, and that's going to be the egg from Anivia there. A double kill for Kennen, a triple now as well. They're looking for the kill onto Gambit. He's the last member alive. Can they get the ace? He's going to be unstoppable for just a little bit. He's going to try to deal as much damage as he can, but he can't find it. Ace for Sand Shadows after picking up Drake.
And it all fell apart there for Flash Engage. They were trying to get the dragon, they were trying to get it and force the teleport, or just force Panda Lover to stay topside and take the dragon for themselves. They bit off a little more than they could chew, though, with the steal coming through. Shadow getting the kill, or getting the dragon kill, and getting that first dragon on the board for them, and then the follow-up from Panda Lover was just beautiful there. A great Kennen ult coming through.
Delicioso.
That destroyed everyone, and now Kennen is 6-0 and has the Zonias.
Yeah, that's a huge item pickup for the Kennen here. Now his engages, especially with the Hextech, excuse me, the Hextech Rocket Belt. It's not the Proto Belt anymore. The Hextech Rocket Belt and the Zonia's Hourglass are huge items for Kennen. That means that he can engage really safely and be able to leave once that gold wears off, and also provide a huge chunk of damage for his team as well. So this is a very, very strong Kennen in the hands of a very, very good player. So this is definitely something to be scared of.
Yeah, and we're seeing it is the Prowler's Claw on the Lee Sin there, so going heavy into the lethality and the ability to kill people, that is going to fall off really hard into this Rel and Mundo here.
Yeah,
come the late game.
Yeah, I'm usually not a fan of building straight damage onto Lee Sin. I mean, I do like the dash so that you can dash behind people in order to excuse me, in order to kick them into your team. But I feel like if you're Lee Sin and you have the slow, then kicking them into your team should be a lot easier, and you shouldn't need the Prowler's Knife, and in which case you can go for something different. But you know, I'm not the Lee Sin expert. You know, if you had asked me what the itemization on maybe Nami was, I'd be able to give you a little bit of more in-depth detail. But you know, Prowler's Claw probably should be fine. I'm just, you know, usually more of a fan of folks saying, okay, well, I'm Lee Sin, my damage is good, levels 1 through 6, and then after that it starts to fall off, and so I should probably be a tank into the later bits of the game.
Yeah, and I mean we'll see how that works out for them there, but it is not gonna be fun come late game here. Jinx, on the other hand, though, trying to pick up some farm, has the Immortal Shield Bow, will be working towards that. Renan's here coming up next. That is a big break point there. Once Jinx gets the Renan's Hurricane as well as the Shield Bow, that's when her damage starts becoming really huge because those rockets are shooting out from 3 places.
Yeah, and having the Kraken Slayer in addition to like the rockets buff, like that's just going to be a huge amount of damage just in of itself. Just the amount of attack speed that she's able to dish out is just insanely good, and having Karma there for support is definitely very, very good as well. We've now reached the stage where Jinx is now the win condition, and if Flash Engage doesn't play around her properly, this could be curtains for them.
Absolutely, and it is going to be a rough climb back up there. They're trying to stall it out once again, try and get something going there for themselves, but it is not an easy time.
Yeah. Dragon is spawning here in about 25 seconds, a little bit more than that, and we'll see probably another team fight here. Panda Lover is definitely ready to go. Ooh, Roadhouse might have found him out here. That's a huge amount of damage on the Panda Lover here. That's forcing out the... Oh, no! That's going to be the Super Mega Death Rocket finding the kill. Now Roadhouse is the target, so the rest of the team is now trying to return a kill in time, and that's Hilsey going to find 2 CC onto 2 very important targets. Brazilian is trying to do his best to kite away, but that's the whole team and the Mundo here. There's going to be the Ornhorn, there's the Flash, and Loch Ness Unicorn is going to go down. Fallen, meanwhile, going to 1v1 Resilient and pick up the kill, and what started as a really great pick for Fallen and for Flash Engage turned into a massive team fight win for Sand Shadows.
Yeah, Panda Lover fell immediately there, but the disengage and re-engage coming through was huge. Fallen doing a buttload of damage there. The barrels starting to come online as well. This team is starting to be a very, very scary, bursty team comp right now.
Yeah, it's almost insane to say, you know, how much importance we've kind of put on Panda Lover and like the amount of utility and damage that we put on the team, and then, you know, we saw him lose, and then immediately Sand Shadows were like, yo, we didn't need him the whole time. We do a lot of damage by ourselves, and then immediately turned that whole fight on their head. So that was really, really well played by them. Fallen being caught out here. Roadhouse, oh my gosh, so much damage. And this is Roadhouse just in their element here. You know, that Anivia play one trick that we've been talking about. So very, very well played so far. Very well played. They're now in their element, I should say. For this good Anivia play. So very, very good job.
Yeah, and 2 dragons now over 2 Sand Shadows now, so we'll be contesting these dragons from further on and be at the very least even. So we will be seeing how that pans out and how these dragons go. I feel like that is kind of the one time you see these entire teams grouped up together, and that is a very good option rather. So we'll see how that pans out.
As we get closer and closer, it looks like they're jockeying for vision around this Baron pit here. Some vision pings have been shown out by the blue team, and wards have been cleared. by the red. So it looks like Baron is the next target for these teams. And judging by how this game has been going, this definitely is Flash Engage's tool to get back in the game. Jinx is a very powerful pusher, and Nivea is a very powerful pusher, and being able to do a 1-3-1 with this team could be incredible. It could be an incredible gold swing for them, considering how many turrets are still up on the map for them to take.
Yeah, Roadhouse gonna try and get some damage onto DVS Reformed, but he's got the orange. He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, or in the mid lane, Rel trying to get a little bit of deep vision that they have not been able to have since the start of the game. Lizzie will be okay.
Yeah. All right, here we go. FBD Shadow being caught out here. Roadhouse dealing a huge chunk of damage to him. Should be able to regen that up. He is Mundo. So, yeah, it's just more teams just slow. This game has slowed down a whole lot. And this is how Flash Engage gets back into this game. They might have found out Panda Lover here. Going to kick him away from the turret. That's about all they got to do here. Just, man. Yeah, oh, ooh, FBD Shadow starting up the Baron here, and this might be the force for Flash Engage to fight them here. Fallen and DVS Reformed are here. Cannon waiting with teleport here. FBD Shadows 13 low. They might be able to find a kill. Here comes the Ornhorn. It's going to come right across FBD Shadow, taken up into the air, and he's going to go down. The teleport has been hit by Cannon, but he's so far away. 5 members of Flash Engage here still not waiting. They have seen that Cannon has TP'd away from the bot side, so they are a little scared to be engaged here, but they haven't spotted him out just yet. Cannon doing a good job of standing outside vision. It looks like they're just going to scare them off the Baron and back away.
Yeah, not much gained there, so a lot of jockeying for position. It's going to be up to these teams to understand the timers going on here and play around them accordingly, because if they do not, you are going to risk giving away an objective.
Yeah, and I think that call from FBD Shadow was correct. If they and Flash Engage is trying to slow down this game so much. And if they are, and Jinx is able to become the hyper carry that she's meant to be, then it's going to be really hard for FBD Shadow to win this. I mean, their only tank is really Dr. Mundo. Hilsey is a tanky character, but you know, they're working on welfare. They're working on that support, working with that support income, so they're not going to be as tanky as, say, FBD Shadow. So if Jinx is able to run away with this game, if Jinx is able to scale up, they might be able to run away with this game. Night Saw finding DVS Shadow here. He's going to get the speed boost from Karma, as the rest of the team is going to pick up this third Cloud Drake here, and they're just going to back away. Looks like it was just seeded, and it's just going to be Flash Engage just backing away. Ooh, Sand Shadow is actually going to capitalize on the fact that they're not here. Roadhouse might be in the wrong place, wrong time. That's going to be the flash away from the Hilsey ultimate.
No.
Oh, so close. Oh, man. Okay, here
Ornhorn.
comes the Ornhorn. This might be the fight. There's going to knock Gangplank up into the air, but Hilsey and FBD Shadow are now in the middle of the whole team. That's going to be going. Golden Cannon is now in it. They're flashing away, and now Resilient is trying to turn this around as best he can. Roadhouse going to try to get away. He's popped into an egg, but Resilient is going to find the kill on the Panda Lover. There's already 4 members left, and they're all so low. Hilsey fighting Gambit and Loch Ness Unicorn on the backside. Resilient is still a full HP. He hasn't been taken out just yet. He just needs the full HP here. Fallen getting a decent chunk of damage, but he's going to get caught out. Can Resilient get the kill? He's going to be forced to flash away. He's going to hit the what I assume for just a little bit of movement speed, and they're all going to back away. A 2 for 2 over near Flash Engage's base.
Yeah. So a even fight there, and the dragon does go over to Sand Shadows. They have now the 3rd Wind Dragon and will be on Soul Point in about 3.5 minutes. That is the next big objective to watch for. And Resilient doing a lot of damage here. You can see what happens if he's able to stay alive and pump damage without being chased down. That is what he's capable of.
Yeah, and I think Sand Shadows is finally realizing maybe the problem that they're in is I was about to say that Jinx had a nearly finished Infinity Edge, but Jinx now has the finished Infinity Edge. That's a Kraken Slayer, an Infinity Edge, and a Runaan's Hurricane on a Jinx. That is a very, very scary champion right now. I do not want to be in a prolonged team fight with that Jinx in there.
Yeah, that is a that is a feels bad moment if you were on the other team.
Ooh. The whole team is being caught out here by that ward. Kennen is waiting in the wings. They're jockeying for position around this Baron. Should be just a little. Oh yeah, Kennen's definitely sneaking around here. He's playing a stealth game. He's not playing League of Legends. He's playing Assassin's Creed.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Vandaliver spying out Gambit here. The rest of the team spying out the last of the vision. So they are all in mid lane, and Baron might be started up here. Yeah. FBD Shadow has started the Baron. Yep. Here comes the empowered E. Yep. Oh yeah, and there's the Gangplank ult to slow them down as well. Vandalover waiting on the wings here. Here's the Ornhorn to try to interrupt, but it's not going to be enough. And that was enough time for the blue team to finish off the Baron Nashor, but are Flash Engage going to do what their team says they're not? They're just going to peel off and back away from this Baroned up team.
Yeah, good call from Sandwiches there to just, or Sand Shadows rather.
Yeah.
Just getting the objective, getting out, and then regrouping here to make sure that they didn't take a fight that was not ideal for them.
Yeah, and this is the second time that we've seen Sand Shadows trying to go for a cheeky sort of engage, and I don't know if Flash Engage is playing too scared or they're playing just the right amount of scared. What do you think?
I feel like they're playing a little too scared here because, like, their comp is not the scaling comp. It is not the comp that is going to get to the late game and, like, be... Well, it's actually a tough call.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would say that Jinx is the late game hyper carry that this entire team is designed to protect. So getting to the late game and slowing this game down so that Jinx can catch up has probably been their objective for this whole time. So being able, yeah. Go ahead.
But where there's a Kennen, is that really going to be feasible consistently here? Because Kennen is going to just get the damage down over and over again. There's not going to be a way to stop him.
Right, and that is something to keep in mind. But I think that the way that Flash Engage wins this game is by just protecting Resilient at all costs. And Jinx is a late game champion. While they might not scale overall better than Sand Shadows, I think that their win con is the late game.
Yeah. But then Panda Lover.
Nightsaw finding the Panda Lover here. He's going to pop the ultimate, and he's going to immediately go down as the rest of the team are nowhere near him. Meanwhile, FBD Shadow and the Gangplank ultimate finding out Resilient here. This might be huge. He's going to get the shield from Karma, the movement speed as well, and they're going to back away as FBD Shadow threads the needles around the chompers. Hilsey going to try to ulti over the wall. It's not going to be good enough as now Resilient is back into the fight. DVS Reform now trying to find onto Resilient once again. Gambit now 1v2ing Hilsey and FBD Shadow, and here comes Loch Ness Unicorn to help and support, but they're going to back away as no one is here to get this to help, but they're going to be able to find the mid inhibitor turret. 3v1 in the mid lane here. They're gonna have to give up something. That's gonna be the Hextech Proto Belt, gonna be dashing him a little bit forward. It's the Hextech Rocket Belt, excuse me. The prototype is gone. Gambit taking a huge chunk of damage here from Fallen, and that's going to be Nightsaw dashing in here. Hilsey looking for the knockup, going to be able to find it, and now that's going to be Nightsaw going down almost immediately after respawning as well. That's going to be 2 turrets being picked up by Sand Shadows here as they continue to press their lead into this game.
As the fight went on further and further, Nightsaw just kept throwing it away. They had it in their hands and they threw it away. I am just, oh my goodness, yeah. Now this Lee Sin started off what, like 3-0, is now 5-9-4, This
Yeah.
is not looking good the longer this goes for Flash Engage.
Yeah, and I'd like to give Flash Engage like maybe this is how they stay in the game, but 13,000 gold now separates the two teams. And at 35 minutes into the game, that's not exactly a hill that you get over this late in the game.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. I mean, so let's go over some of the things they do have though. They've
Hmm.
got the Anivia, they've got the Jinx. Those two,
Hmm.
as far as damage dealers, are really, really freaking good in the late game. They pump out damage in the late game.
Yeah, it
Oh
looks like
no.
Anivia might be caught out here. A Gangplank ultimate and two members gonna immediately collapse onto him. The Anivia egg is gonna get popped. He's gonna go down, and that might be a huge problem for Flash Engage here as they continue to press towards what might be the end of this game.
Yeah, every time there's just somebody too far forward there and the cannon barrage comes down, the rest of the team just destroys people onto that cannon barrage there. And you can see there's no answer to it. They don't have this split push answer in their team comp.
Yeah, and this is what's starting to smell doom as Sand Shadows are just pressing into the base here. They have 3 inhibitors down, and the only thing that stands between them and the Nexus is 4 members. Well, is he going to go in here? Not going to be able to find the kill, the ultimate, but they are going to be able to find the kill on the Nightsaw. Resilient going to do a huge chunk of damage already, and she's going to be the target now as Kaisa dives into the background. Going to be able to find the double kill here. Gambit now looking to try to finish off some kills, but not going to be enough. Roadhouse finally respawns and is going to get a quadra kill. Are they going to be able to find the Penta? They can't because Fallen's dead. Yeah, you hate to see it. GG's to both teams, but that's going to be Sand Shadows picking up the second game out of 3 for this game today.
Yeah, and big congratulations to them. It started off rough. It looked like Flash Engage were going to get something going in that early game there. Nightsaw started popping off, but unfortunately just constantly pushing too far forward and throwing those leads away turned into Sand Shadows getting that game back under control. And you saw in the late game how much damage this Kaisa was doing and how great these split pushes were from DVS Reformed and Panda Lover.
Yeah, and I had to give it to at least Flash Engage because they were trying their best to stay in the game. We saw towards the late game that they were trying to slow down the game as much as possible, let Resilient scale up, and he did. Honestly, like if we look at the amount of damage he dealt in that last team fight, it was huge. The problem is Sand Shadows was a lot farther ahead, and the second that Kaisa had the ability to dive onto Jinx in the backside and took the opportunity, Resilient was just immediately taken down. And well, I should say almost immediately taken down. But if Resilient had stayed alive just a little bit longer in that fight, that would have been just a complete coin flip of an outcome. But yeah, Flash Engage did a good job of trying to stay in the game the best they can, but I don't think it was enough. Sand Shadows just putting so much pressure on the board and forcing them to act in whatever situation they had available to them.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the big thing. The tempo could not be contained there. They got it for a little bit, but Panda Lover was able to turn around some ganks and get 1-for-1s or even 1-for-0s. DVS Reformed with the massive cannon barrages in that second game. FBD Shadow fell behind early, but eventually became the Mundo that everyone knows. So it just was not adapted too well, and the tempo could not keep going for Flash Engage.
Yeah. But with that, that's going to do it for us tonight. GG's to both Flash Engage and Sand Shadows. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight on behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcasting crew. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.